Thanks, Arthur. Hi, everyone. My name's Steve Leather, FC St Helens Club Chairman, and welcome to episode 5 of Fctv. On today's show, we'll do the normal recap of the first team, reserves, women's, and of course the under-18s, and we'll review the games that have been over the last 2 weeks since the last time you joined us. We've also got a studio guest, which I'll introduce to you to shortly. But let's get straight in. Let's look at the games over the last couple of weeks.
Here we go!
So, always need to be notes of these. So, first team. Last time we spoke, we came away with a brilliant 3-1 win against 𝗁𝗁. Quite, let's say, a hostile game to say the least. But we came away with a 3-1 win. Kind of won the game in the last few minutes. If I remember correctly, the winner came in the 89th minute and then an own goal in the 94th minute or something like that. Sealed the points on the road. Bad conditions over there, as you can imagine, in 𝗁𝗁. And on a Tuesday night, it's quite challenging. And, you know, the crowd over there get on top of the game as well. So come away with a 3-1 win was an exceptional result, all things considered. And then Saturday, 𝗵𝗁𝗀. Again, away on the road, coming away with a 1-1 draw. Could argue a little bit disappointed about that. Again, 𝗵𝗁𝗀 going down to 10 men. Could have capitalised on it more, just really didn't create enough chances to get the game won. So, 𝗵𝗁𝗀, I think, if they were brutally honest, would probably have been happy with the draw, considering they're down to 10 men. We were a little bit disappointed, however.
Right, Mike, we've had to settle for the points here today against 𝗵𝗁𝗀 Town. We controlled large majority of the game. What are your thoughts?
I think, you know, we've started all right, haven't we, the game, and we didn't do anything that we spoke about again for probably 25 minutes or so. They've got a penalty. Joe's made the save, and then from that point on is when we've reacted. We've not really created chances or anything, but we started then controlling the game, and you know we've scored from a set piece. We've then controlled the game again, and we've seen it out to after the last 5 minutes. They started coming back into it, but then we've seen it out to half time, and you know we've come out to half time. We spoke to them in there about getting higher up the pitch and controlling the ball and dictating the tempo of it. And I thought the first 2 minutes or so they've had a chance, but they've had a shot. Joe's made the save, but then apart from that, I thought we were in control of the game. We stepped up higher, we dictated the play, and we've got on the ball. We've just not created opportunities. I think when we've got in the final third, we're trying to pick a perfect pass, and we're not putting enough balls in the box, and we're not getting enough shots off. And it's everything that we keep saying to them. If you've just made a 20-yard run with the ball and you've ended up 20 yards out, hit it. It can ricochet, it can go in, it can wrong foot to keep it, and we're not doing it. We're trying to pick an extra pass, and then we're on our heels because we're not anticipating the pass. And it's a bit of a frustrating one today. It feels like a defeat, but it's another point on the road. It's 9 unbeaten, I think that is now, and we're winning a game and then we're not quite at it the next game, so it's a little bit frustrating, that one. But we've got to roll our sleeves up and pull our socks up and go and get 6 points.
Thank you, Mike.
Got a few games coming up which we'll discuss later on in the show. Moving on to the Resies, again, they're continuing in fine form this season. They came away with a 3-2 win against 𝗁𝗁𝗀, a much improved 𝗁𝗁𝗀 side, considering the last result early in the season. I think it finished like 9 or 10-1, if I remember rightly. This time we came away with a 3-2 victory. And then we moved on to the County Cup, a cup we traditionally do very well in. And this game was no different. The Resies coming away with a 9-1 victory against Middleton Overton, up from Lancaster, Morecambe Way, I think they believe they're up there. So that would have been a long drive back for them after a result like that. Into the next round they go. They then take on more local side, Pennington Reserves from Wigan. So that game's going to be played towards the end of the month, I think, if I remember rightly. Oh no, January. So we'll keep you posted on results there. Moving on to the women, just the one game actually since the disappointment of Ashton's Town's 2-0 loss. Just the one game due to weather, etc. Again in the County Cup, and again a pretty easy affair. A team, Morecambe ladies, came to visit Windleshore Sports, but it was FC came away with a 9-0 win. So that was a great bounce back considering the poor result we had a week or two earlier. So Rosie was really happy about that. So what we'll do is we'll cut to Rosie now and we'll get the feedback about that.
How was that for you? What are your thoughts?
I've got a smile on my face today, so
really happy with the performance overall. First 45 minutes, we dictated the play. I think Becky Barker slotting into the deeper role in midfield today, done a really, really good job. Got on the ball and always looked for that forward pass, which was pleasing. But overall, our captain, Jess Muirhead, just stepped up, took ownership, leadership, led everyone on the pitch, and played really, really, really good on a personal level for her as well. But team performance, I couldn't fault them. I said that at half-time to them when we went in. Don't change anything that we're doing. Just don't take your foot off the gas in the second half. Keep the tempo, keep the intensity there. Although Morecambe came out in the second half, totally different team. They put on a little bit more pressure on us in terms of their pressing, but we held out. We just kept as a unit, defended really well, and brought 𝗵𝗁 on, who's not had much game time this season, but she came on, scored a goal, which was really nice for her. But overall, really pleasing into the next round, quarter-final. So it'll be interesting to see who we get in the next round.
Okay, thanks, Rosie. Moving on to the under-18s. As you know, Baz Pope was in the studio a few weeks ago and was telling us about them. They're going on exceptional results at the moment. It's currently sitting top of the league of the Warrington Junior Premier League, sitting nice and pretty on top. In the last couple of weeks, they've come away with a 12-0 victory and came away with a 5-4 victory on Saturday as well. A lot closer for that one, but I believe they only had bird 11 due to illness and injury, so that was a great result for them. I think one of the big turning points for them is they actually took part in the Northern Cup, which is an adults-only competition, and that was a bit of a baptism of fire, and that was prior to the 12-0 win that they had. I think that's done a world of good playing against adults, so we've got a good future there, and we've got some good lads coming through. So whilst it was a loss in the Cup, it's really paid dividend in the league, and we learned from mainly probably the strength side of the game. So exceptional. So well done, Baz, and the lads all over there. So that's the roundup of the results. We will touch on about the great news we've had over the last few days about the Bishop Road facilities. We'll come back to that. We'll touch on that a little bit later on. And we'll have another episode later in a couple of weeks to give you some more detail, more meat on the bones about how that has developed and where that will take us.
Here we go!
So today is about the studio guest. So today is a different kind of a guest. It's not an FC St Helens person. It was quite an interesting angle. I thought it would be good to get him on board, and let's have a conversation about referees and how the game's perceived about the referees, and how we can learn as clubs and as coaches about how referees think and what they're told to do and what not told to do anyway. So this is a very informal. This is not an interrogation in any way, shape or form. It's just about learning how we can improve our relationship, the club's relationship, manager relationship with referees, and get a bit more understanding about how that works from your side. So we'd like to welcome today's guest. And I've been told it's not a referee's assessor, it's a referee's observer. So welcome to the studios, Arthur. Nice to meet you.
Good to be here.
Great stuff. So listen, Ted, it's just about being informal. It's also about wanting to learn more, a little bit about your role, where you've come from, etc. More importantly, I think it's important to get a little bit background, how you've got involved in the game, and then we'll dive into a little bit deeper about what you look for in a game. You know, when you come to observe, not assess, but observe, what you're looking for, that type of thing. So, first and foremost, just give us a bit of background, who you are, how long you've been in the game, etc.
Well, as you can see, I'm quite an old fella. I started refereeing in 1970-71.
Wow.
So I've done a few years, and then through medical conditions, they stopped me running probably 10 years ago. Yeah. And I joined the county FA on there. It was assessing at that stage,
yep.
Looking at all the young referees. And then an opportunity came to do a training course at Lancashire FA, went on that. They said, "Oh, would you like to go higher?" Right. I said, yes. So then I've moved up and moved up.
Right.
So
okay.
That's where I am today.
So how long have you been observing games then now?
Certainly 10 years.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
And is it a level, is it not always Northwest Counties, or is it higher, is it lower sometimes?
It's normally North West Counties, Cheshire League, Liverpool County Premier League.
Right.
But I have a problem and the DVLA won't let me drive.
Oh, okay.
So to get even to places like 𝗵𝗁 or certain parts of Liverpool,
It's a challenge.
it's a big challenge.
Yeah.
You
Brilliant.
know, to go to Jericho Lane is 2.5 hours on public transport.
Wow.
So it's not easy.
Right.
So I'm relatively local.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you still capture most games, most weekends then? Would you say, even though you're restricted on the distance you can travel, do you still get to see a lot of games?
Yeah, I'm probably up to 18, 20 games for this season.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Normally you'll get a Saturday game and then a Tuesday, or you might even get a Friday. Like I know you're playing on a Friday.
Friday, yeah.
It depends on how the fixtures are
Right.
going and who the FA wants observing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that leads us nicely on to the actual role itself. And as I said to you, we're not here to, point referees out or anything like that. What we are looking to do is to really, I want to put the message over there as how we can educate ourselves, more importantly, as managers, as coaches, as clubs officials, etc., about what the observer is looking for and the traits of a referee. And we will dive into a little bit, what makes that referee make that decision at that time type of thing, but nothing meat on the bone. So as a starting point, as you're approaching the game, you're appointed a game, you know who the referee is, what's your process then? How do you approach that game from the minute you walk into the ground?
Well, if I take you back a couple of days on that,
Okay.
is when I'm appointed to a fixture, I will arrange to have a telephone conversation with the referee, certainly 2, if not more days before the game,
Okay.
and just get a level of understanding how he's been going on, has he had any issues, and then a few things that I would like, and a point might raise a smile with your reserve team coach, substitutes coming on at the halfway line. Your reserve team coach brought the whole 5 on 15, 20 yards from the halfway line a couple of weeks ago.
Right, okay.
Now, the linesman should have stopped it. And after the first one, the referee should have stopped it.
Right.
So I've got to say to the referee, you can do better by sticking with the regulations.
Okay.
You're supposed to bring them onto the halfway line.
But that's only you're only highlighting that after the game though, aren't you?
Well, I highlight that as an example before the game. So I'm not giving him anything to be unduly concerned with before the game.
Okay, so is it fair to say then you're not giving him, let's say you spoke to him, say, a couple of days before the game, whatever it may be. Are you actually advising the referee to look out for this type of thing prior to that game? Or
well, he should be looking out for it every game.
He should be, yeah, of course, yeah. But are you prompting him to, for example, that particular case you just said then, so if you've seen in previous games, the number of players on the or officials on the line, or what is too many, whatever. Would you prompt that referee to look out for something like that, or is it,
Yeah. So some of the basic things like that, he should be getting help from his senior assistants on that touchline. So that assistant has got to do his job.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he's putting undue pressure on the referee.
Yeah.
But the referee should also do his job. If you talk about referees making a decision, part of it should be the easy stuff like the substitutes come onto the halfway line.
Yeah.
There's a white line there for everybody to see.
Yeah.
The ball stopped. It's not a split-second decision. So they should be able to comprehend that that guy's not coming on at the halfway line.
Okay.
And bring him on at the halfway line. It's only a small point, but it's the discipline of getting all those small points in a row, and he's done a really good job.
Okay, so let's rewind slightly then. So you've made contact with the referee 2-3 days prior to the game. So at what point then? How much do you engage with him on match day. So you've arrived at the ground, you've introduced yourself. I assume you'll introduce yourself to the referee prior to the game. So where does it go from there? Is it a quick introduction and you leave them to it, or is there more of a briefing or anything like that?
Well, I like to understand what the referee is doing with his assistants.
Okay.
So I like to be at the ground at least an hour before kickoff, so I can have time with them, just their general chit chat, and then listen to their pre-match instructions.
Okay.
And once they've done that, I'll get out the way. Some referees will do that 40, 50 minutes before kickoff. Other referees are like 25, 30 minutes.
Okay.
I prefer the longer time gap because I can be there, listen to it, get out the way,
Yeah.
and leave the referee to prepare for the game in the way he would like best.
So once you've heard that feedback, you're just there to observe. You're not giving him any constructive feedback based on his instructions to his assistants, anything like that.
They'll ask you, have you got anything to add? And normally I will say to the senior assistants, make sure there's no substitute at half time. And we had that a couple of times last season where they didn't know a substitute had come on, but number 12 was playing right back instead of number 2. And they only found that out after the game, after I'd asked the question.
Right. So once the game starts, second half, they hadn't informed the officials, and he was just on the pitch.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. Okay. Wow.
And I was shocked that it wasn't done correctly. Right. I was shocked that the senior assistants hadn't asked a question.
So this is another interesting thing you've just touched on slightly, because, and please correct me if I'm wrong on this, but when you're there to observe the referee, aren't you? Or are you there to observe all three?
All three.
Okay, so that always, I don't know about other clubs out there, but it's always been my interpretation that the observer was there to watch the referee and observe the referee only. He didn't have anything to do, or she didn't have anything to do with the linesman. So that you're actually there to observe all three then?
All three.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting, because that's something I've learned already. Because I just thought it was, like I said, just officials and stuff. Okay, so we've moved on. You're given the space to prep for the game. Okay, and that's fine. And we start the game, and then you just, some observers, you're in the mix with all the crowd, and some observers will just go and disappear in the stands somewhere, type thing. So, what do you look for? What are the kind of key things? We're not going to ask you into specifics, but what are the key things that you're looking for from a referee? Noting that you've had that conversation 2 or 3 days prior. You've had a very small briefing prior to the game. How does then that interpret into the game itself? If you've got an ambitious referee who wants to progress, and we're all football, all in the game for whatever reason. Some players want to move up the ladder. Some referees want to move up the ladder. So they're obviously there to progress. So how would you treat a referee that wants to progress differently to maybe someone who wants it just to be there because he just wants to referee a game?
No different.
No different.
I had a referee who shocked me when he told me his age in the last month.
Right.
And he had a fabulous game.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he had no ambition to move on?
He was too old to move on.
Right, okay.
But he had a really great game. And I came away thinking, I enjoyed watching him.
Yeah.
And he was able to work it and work with his assistants. So he got a good result. And it was an interesting game.
Yeah.
And I thought, well done.
It's weird when you say small little things like that. It's like you've just hit a very, very important point. I think is one of the biggest challenges I think clubs have, because you've enjoyed watching that referee to produce a good performance with his officials, his assistant officials or assistant referees. But the key point you've actually said was he communicated well with those officials. I think that's what you said, isn't it? Yeah. And I think that's one of the, as I watch games as a club chairman, and I've seen my own manager lose his rag on the line. At 𝗵𝗶𝘀𝘀, I've seen managers in the opposition lose their rag with the assistants and the referees. And I think it comes down to a fundamental issue is that communication is poor between the referee and his assistant. And I refer you to a conversation I had with my manager at the time. He just wants to know why a referee's made a decision. And that information can be easily relayed, in his opinion, and to be fair, in my opinion as well, can be easily more relayed if that referee would have relayed the information to the assistant, to that assistant. Because I don't expect a referee to walk over or run over 40, 50 yards, whatever it may be, to explain a decision. He doesn't need to do that. That's not his job to do that. But there's no reason why he couldn't really trying to communicate that with his assistant so he can be the buffer to explain to my manager why he's made that decision. And I think, and this is a personal point of view, and I think that doesn't happen enough. And that's where I think a lot of problems and tensions maybe how would you, me saying that now, what would you say about that?
Difficult, because the people at our level can get very volatile knowing there's nothing going to come out of it too much. If you're on the Premier League, you've got cameras on you all the time.
Sure.
And so therefore you've got to be careful that what you do on the touchline is not going to go round the world. What you do at Windleshaw is not going to go round the world.
Okay.
And people can get upset and annoyed with referees. There was a game a few weeks ago where you were given a penalty towards the end of a game, scored it, and the opposition's manager was going ballistic on the far touchline. And the referee sent him off. And he walked down the touchline, looked to see if the referee was looking.
I know what you mean.
Jumped over the fence
yeah,
and went back behind his dugout.
Yeah.
But the referee was aware of it.
Yeah, of course he was.
Yeah. And then he made him walk round
I know,
the touchline to your dressing room.
Yeah, because I know, because it was me greeted him at the gate to make sure he went off the pitch. But yeah, and I get what you're saying, and you've got to be fully observant about that. But again, I understand the TV bit, and we don't live in that world. I understand that, but how can we improve? And I say it's a collective we. This is a collective we. This is we as in the game. How can we improve the relationship? So the communication between the referee and assistant, if a let's use the word controversial decision has been made by the referee, that a manager wants to know why he came to that decision. How can we improve? How can the game improve that decision, that communication?
I would say, why is it thought that decision is controversial? Because the penalty that I've just mentioned, I thought the referee got it bang on, and I didn't think there was anything in it for this person to really show his unhappiness. But he did, and he did, and he went off the planet.
He did went off the planet, but I don't want to get specific onto specific games.
Yeah.
You know, because it's not just like FC St Helens. It's about other games and stuff like that. So I just think we as a game, and I keep saying we as a game need to find out how we can, because a lot of frustrations are down to miscommunication. You hit the nail on the head early in the conversation about you watched the referee at an exceptional game, but the key was communication with his assistants. I've already learned today that you're actually observing the assistants as well. I just thought it was so we're progressing now. But that makes it even more important for the observers to understand that some managers are out there under a lot of pressure to produce results with big budgets and things like that. So they're going to lose their head. And sometimes when you look back and sit back, those managers just want an explanation. And I think we need to learn how we get that communication over, because I think it is my opinion. I think if we can crack 50% of that, I think we'll crack 90% of the problems on the line, in my opinion. And I think as what I would like, and you can tell me, well, that's not my job or that's whatever, but I think if observers can see that that's spilling over because sideline's getting issued, does that get fed back to a referee at the end of the game that his relationship or her relationship is got room for improvement by communicating with the linesman? Do you understand what I'm saying? That?
Yeah, and I'll throw a little curveball in here. When you see referees, some of the best referees I've seen are constantly talking to the players, so the players are fully aware of what's going on. Right. Without necessarily running 50 yards to talk to the team managers and explain everything to them. As he's running past the player, he'll pass a comment, and the really good referees, you can see them having a conversation with players, not necessarily at a foul, might be at a throw-in, or the ball's gone out for a goal kick or a corner and they're waiting for the ball to come back. He's able to talk to them and get the players on side without running all the way over to the dugouts. So he gets the communication, and he's getting the communication with the people that matter actually on the pitch. Yeah. The managers are a little bit more difficult to control.
I know there probably is an easy solution to it, and that's just, like you see in the Premier League, it's about radio communication, but that costs money, and there's all those kind of things. And I think, we've got a simple thing as, some of the assistants have these fancy flags where, flag goes up, it buzzes the referee's arm, whatever. I think perhaps technology should start to filter through a little bit, but that's a completely different other subject. So, do you know what I mean? I don't want to start going down that road, but I just think it's the communication side of things. So let's move on from that. We all know it can be better, and we now know that communication is absolutely key. Of course it is. So a game's finished. I am assuming you give. I've been around the grounds when you've been around, and other observers. You give that referee time to take a breather. That 10-15 minutes before you can go into his changing rooms. Yeah. I'm fully. That's 100%. I am a big fan of that, because emotions are still running high for a good 10-15 minutes after that, after the final whistle. But let's take into that 50 minutes. So you've gone in and you sat with 3 officials. How do you approach that? What kind of thing do you say to them?
First of all, the 10 or 15 minutes for me is 15 to 20.
Okay.
Because I've got to write my notes up. I've got all the notes made during the course of the game, and I've got to pick the bones out of it to say, I need to ask him a question on this, need to ask him a question on that. So when we start a debrief at the end of the game, we cover the discipline that's been handed out, caution, sendings off. I'll have put my version, what I thought I saw. Did that agree with what the referee has actually sanctioned the player for? Then we've got key match incidents. So was it a controversial penalty, or was it just a penalty? Right. Where there's no issues on it at all. Was there anything else in the game that was key to his control and the way the game went on? And then you can break it down into positive situations for the referee and negative ones. And similarly with both assistants. Okay. You can say, well, clarify the substitutions, what times were the, to make sure that I've seen everything that was going on. So
is that generally a one-way conversation, or is that a conversation?
Oh, no, it's two-way. Because I'm asking a question. When I ask about the discipline, they've got to tell me the discipline, not me tell them what I saw. I've already got it written down.
What you saw, yeah.
But I might have thought, that player's been done for persistent misconduct, creating a series of fouls. And they've gone, no, he's been done for a foul tackle for that offence. Okay.
Do most referees accept your version? Do they ever challenge you over it? Do they just capitulate and go, yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm rubbish. I got it all wrong today. Or did he stand the ground a little bit and go, no, Arthur, you're wrong. Da, 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 da. How does that conversation appear? If I was an outsider, what would that conversation look like?
Everything you've just said.
Right, okay.
You've got people that agree, people that disagree, people that get really irate at what you've said. But before you leave the dressing room, your final question is, have you got anything to raise? You know, do you want to challenge anything that I've said? And we carry on the conversation. So that I'm under the not illusion. I know from a fact that where the referee was coming from when he made a particular decision.
Okay. All right. Okay. Great. Thank you for that. So it's a bit more insight in there about how the operational side of things work on match day. You've gone away. You write your report, etc. Firstly, what happens to that report? Does it go up the chain of command? Does it go to a coach, a trainer, whatever they are? These, 'cause it's not just observers that's walking through the door these days. The referee coaches as well, isn't it? So, what happens to that report, and more importantly, how is it used?
A copy goes to MOAS,
right,
and they then give that report to the referee. So he's got a full feedback on what I'm saying. And generally, when you see my report, it is, you've done this well, you've done that well, or you could have done this better. Have you ever tried doing something right to suit? One segment is signals. Where is signals clear? Was he crossing with his linesman? You know, you've got to get the whole team moving in the same direction.
Sure.
You know, and this goes back to the point I've said about the substitutes. That's such a small feature that should have been correct.
Yeah.
And so I might have written a paragraph that's that big on the failure to do the substitutes correctly, but on the assistant's report, it might have been twice as big.
Okay, so this is going back to one of the first points I've learned is you're not just writing a report for the referee, you're writing a report for these two assistants as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it goes up the chain.
Yeah.
With each individual segment, I put a mark on.
Yeah.
And then the mark gets automatically added up. The marks for referees then go onto, I'll call it a spreadsheet, and you see the referees who are getting consistently high marks rise to the top, and then you've got a pile in the middle. The ones that are near the top might get the opportunity to either get promoted December or they wait till the following summer.
So how does it work then if, like, you believe a referee and his team have had an exceptional game, everything is positive, they've ranked high, whatever. But in that same game, the club's on the end of a big defeat, and he takes it out on a MOAS report because they all do it. We've all done it. And you're thinking because there's been a controversial decision that led to the first goal that maybe led to a bigger defeat than what would normally have happened. So how does the FA and the Referees Association or whatever we're looking at, how do they perceive that? So if you're given a glowing report, the Club B is going, well, no, he was, I thought he couldn't keep up with play, or I thought his communication was poor. How do you handle that? Do you know what I mean? Because, if I speak from, let's say I give a low score because I think he couldn't keep up with play. You've given a good score because you thought he did well. And the opposition, who won the game, might think, well, his fitness was all right.
Yeah.
So we've got three different variations of it. So how does all that come back to really looking at what that referee's capabilities is?
If there is a controversial decision, from my point of view, that will get raised in the report.
Okay.
But it's not as far as I'm concerned, it's not affecting the score.
Okay, great. Well, thanks, Father. So what I want to do is just, there's been a couple of questions that have been thrown out, a couple from our own club, a couple from external clubs, etc. I think, to be honest, we've answered one of them anyway. But why in hell do you introduce yourselves to a referee? Now, this is not the question here, but but this is what it's alluding to. Why are you assessing, why are you making contact with a referee, which we've learnt today, 2 days prior, but also introduce yourself on the game? Because, and I bet you I'm not the only person that is watching this thing is going to say this thing, is we see a complete change in referee. We've had a referee 2 or 3 times, same referee, 2 or 3 times, a couple at home, one away, whatever. But we see a fundamental difference between his performance when they know someone like yourself is there. So that's the core question. I think this is what this question is alluding to. So it says, why does common sense seem to go out the window when an observer is present and yellow cards are abound instead? In this particular example, he says, if I fail to give a yellow when the observer thinks I should have, I get marked down. So I then asked, well, what happens if you give a yellow card and the observer thinks you shouldn't have? What is the answer? And the referee's answer was, well, nothing really. So I think there's a little bit of frustration there from that side of things, but I think it comes down to this core question. Why do you introduce yourselves to these referees prior?
Many years ago, when I was going for promotion, the marking structure was different, and we had class 1, class 2, class 3. And you started as a 3, you went up to a 2, and then to go to a class 1, you had to be assessed. And that's the word they used then. And the assessor in the game that I spotted, and he was hiding behind a tree.
Right.
And you called the assessors in those days the silent assassins.
Right.
Because you weren't supposed to see them, you weren't supposed to talk to them. Now, yes, we're there, but we're going to be there minimum 10 times per season. So it's not something that is going to be unusual.
No, I get it's not going to be unusual. And I love the fact they used to hide behind trees and call them the silent assassins, because that means they're a silent assassin to the referee only, because they're the ones that are looking at. That's my opinion. I still don't understand, because it's human nature. It's human nature. We do all this in our private and personal lives. If I'm in work and I'm doing a presentation and all the eyes are on me, I'll act in a different way. I'm probably acting in a different way now because I'm presenting this show. It's human nature. And I think when I leave that door, I'm a completely different person. Okay? Some people think I'm horrible. Some people think I'm not. But that's that. It's a different type of scenario. And I think human nature says, if I'm in the middle, surrounded by 22 blokes chasing a leather football, or plastic football, whatever these days are, and that observer is looking at me, and I've got ambitions to move up that ladder, I'm treating that game differently, like I would do in treating a corporate presentation together, or I'm treating, I speak to my friends differently compared to speak to someone I don't. Do you understand what I'm saying? I think you get a better idea of a person when they're not on the spotlight. And I think that rings true, in my opinion, about a referee. I think you should, my personal opinion is you shouldn't be. And the FA might disagree with me or not. But if you want a true reflection of someone, you need to look at them from a distance. Do you know? And hide behind that blood tree. I've got a beautiful tree at Windleshore you can hide behind. Do you know what I mean? It's like, just let people be natural, I think. And I think, for me, I think you will get, I think that it will be a quality will shine through then. Quality. You always say on a football pitch, so one of the best performances a player produces is when you don't really notice him. He just does the job. Do you know what I mean? And like, referee should be the same. He just does the job to the best of his or her ability without the pressure of knowing he's being watched. And I think you will get a much better referee and the quality will improve. It's a bone contention and we could be here all night, do you know what I mean, discussing it. You know, and it's not going to change on Saturday, do you know what I mean? But I think I'm speaking on behalf of a lot of clubs, and don't get me wrong, if you totally disagree with what I'm saying out there in the counties, drop me a line and tell me I'm wrong, do you know what I mean? But I think that's most of the clubs will be thinking that way. We can talk all week about different referees, but ultimately, and it's the old adage, without referees, we wouldn't have a game. Do you know what I mean? Who would be? What's the phrase? Who would be a referee? Do you know what I mean? You know, but we hope we've learned something. So, thank you for your time. I really appreciate your time, and thanks for the FA as well for allowing this conversation to happen. I hope we've all learned something, and we can take it from there. So, thanks very much, and
thank you, Steve.
I'll no doubt see you on Saturday in a couple of weeks and have a cup of tea and a biscuit.
You never know.
Spot on. Right, everyone, thanks for your time. Just to wrap up slowly, great news about the Bishop Road facility and the club and the club's developments. It's an amazing news. It's something we've been chasing for about 13 years, and you saw the breaking news and it was kind of all over the kitchen. You know, a few people have said the camera footage was terrible. It probably was because I was a bit giddy. Hi everyone, Steve at FC St Helens, club chairman. Just want to share this short video with some breaking news. As you know, that some of you who've been around with us for a little while know that we've been chasing Bishop Road playing fields for the best part of 13, 14 years now. Well, I can certainly give you some news now that we've finally got that secured and over the line. The council have agreed that we can take possession of FC St Helens' new project, new exciting project to develop football in the town. This is going to be an exciting opportunity for both all the players and young talent, not just for the younger players, existing players, but also through the disability, the expansion of women's football. It's going to be huge. We're going to provide some top class facilities over the next few years, and so watch this space. It's going to take us a few months to get through all the legalities and things like that, but let's face it, it's been a long waiting thing. We can really kick on now and start to make some plans. Great news. Thanks to everyone who's made their input in towards getting this line over the line, and we look forward to building a highly successful, all-inclusive football club in the borough of St Helens. Thank you, and we'll see you soon. But yeah, this is amazing news for this football club, and we'll get to know more and put some more meat in the bones in the next few weeks, and particularly in the new year, where we can sit down with everyone and go, right, this is what we want to do. But it's amazing news from the club, right from the very top right down to the kids. So there's a lot of games coming up. Just one more episode left before we head into Christmas. So thanks very much. Thank you for my studio guest, Arthur, and hope everyone enjoyed the show and learnt a little bit about it. So thanks again. Steve Leather, we'll speak to you soon.
2014, Steve had a dream.